We've all heard that too much salt is bad for your heart. Doctors warn about it, health guidelines emphasize cutting it down, and it's practically public enemy number one when it comes to heart disease. But what if I told you there's something even worse, quietly sitting in your kitchen right now, hiding in plain sight? This food doesn't just nudge up your blood pressure, it actively clogs your arteries, triggers chronic inflammation, and weakens your heart day after day. The scary part, most people eat it all the time without even realizing the damage it's causing. If you care about protecting your heart and living a longer, healthier life, this is critical information you can't afford to miss. Stay with me because I'm going to count down the top 13 worst foods for your heart, and the number one culprit might completely surprise you. Number 1. Hydrogenated vegetable oils and trans fats. Let's talk about hydrogenated vegetable oils and trans fats, two ingredients you'll find hiding in plain sight in so many foods, from margarine and packaged snacks to fried foods and even some baked goods. These fats were once marketed as a healthier alternative to butter, but science has proven they are one of the worst things you can put in your body, especially if you care about your heart. Trans fats do something particularly dangerous. They raise your LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol that clogs arteries, while lowering your HDL cholesterol, the good cholesterol that helps clear arteries. This deadly combination creates the perfect environment for plaque buildup inside your blood vessels, making them narrower and stiffer. Over time, this not only increases your risk of high blood pressure, but also raises the chances of heart attacks and strokes. It's so dangerous that the World Health Organization has called for the complete elimination of trans fats from the global food supply. But despite regulations improving in some countries, these fats still sneak into many processed and fried foods, especially in fast food and heavily processed snacks. The good news, you don't need these oils at all. When cooking at home, opt for healthier oils like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or even coconut oil for high-heat cooking. Making that simple swap not only protects your heart, but also reduces inflammation throughout your body. It's one small change that delivers huge benefits for your health. Number 2. Fried foods. When most people think about fried foods being unhealthy, they usually blame the salt, but that's only part of the story. The real danger comes from what happens to the oil itself when it's heated, cooled, and reheated over and over again, especially in fast food kitchens. Every time oil is superheated, its chemical structure breaks down, creating toxic compounds known to trigger inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation is a key driver of heart disease because it damages the lining of your arteries, making it easier for cholesterol to stick and form dangerous plaques. The situation gets even worse when fast food chains and restaurants reuse the same oil multiple times, intensifying its toxicity. This means that every fried item you eat, from fries and fried chicken to onion rings, could be delivering a double dose of artery-clogging trans fats and inflammatory compounds straight to your bloodstream. Studies consistently show that regular consumption of fried foods is linked to higher levels of LDL, bad cholesterol, and elevated triglycerides, two major risk factors for heart attacks and strokes. You don't have to give up that crispy texture you love, you just need to rethink how you cook. Air frying, baking, or even grilling can give you delicious results without the toxic oil exposure. Your heart will thank you, and you'll still get to enjoy crunchy, satisfying meals, just without the hidden heart risks lurking inside a fryer basket. Number 3. Sodas and sugary drinks. Let's talk about sodas and sugary drinks, one of the biggest hidden threats to your heart. These drinks may seem harmless, especially when marketed as refreshing or energizing, but the truth is, they are loaded with health-damaging ingredients like fructose corn syrup and artificial sweeteners. Unlike solid foods, sugary drinks are absorbed into your bloodstream extremely fast, leading to glycemic spikes, sudden surges in blood sugar that put your pancreas into overdrive, forcing it to release large amounts of insulin. Over time, this constant sugar rush leads to insulin resistance, a condition where your cells stop responding to insulin properly. This not only paves the way for type 2 diabetes, but also promotes abdominal fat, a major risk factor for heart disease. And it doesn't stop there. The high fructose load in these drinks is processed directly by your liver, where it can contribute to fatty liver disease, which further disrupts cholesterol balance and raises your cardiovascular risk. And if you think diet sodas are a safer bet, think again. Research shows that artificial sweeteners can negatively impact gut health, trigger inflammation, and even worsen insulin resistance. So what's the solution? It's simpler than you might think. Swap out sodas for sparkling water with lemon, herbal teas, or homemade fruit-infused water. These choices not only hydrate you, but also provide antioxidants and natural nutrients that support heart health, without any of the harmful side effects hiding in a sugary can. Number 4. Processed red meats, bacon, sausages, deli meats. Let's be honest, processed meats like bacon, sausages, ham, and deli meats are delicious and incredibly convenient. But when it comes to heart health, these foods are some of the worst offenders. What makes them so harmful? It's not just the fat content, although that's part of it. These meats are packed with saturated fat and sodium, both of which are well-known contributors to high blood pressure and clogged arteries. But the real danger lies in the nitrates and nitrites, chemical preservatives used to enhance color, flavor, and shelf life. Once inside your body, these compounds can convert into nitrosamines, which are highly carcinogenic and linked to cancer and inflammation. This constant low-grade inflammation doesn't just increase cancer risk, it also damages blood vessels, setting the stage for atherosclerosis, plaque buildup inside your arteries, high blood pressure, and eventually, heart disease. Studies have consistently found that people who regularly eat processed meats face a significantly higher risk of heart attacks, strokes, and premature death compared to those who avoid them. And the danger is dose-dependent, meaning the more you eat, the higher the risk. The good news is that you have plenty of healthier, heart-friendly alternatives. Swap out processed meats for lean poultry, fresh fish, tofu, or legumes. Not only are these options much lower in saturated fat and sodium, but they also deliver essential nutrients like protein, fiber, and healthy fats that actually support heart health instead of harming it. Number 5. Margarine and vegetable creams. For years, products like margarine and vegetable creams were advertised as heart-healthy alternatives to butter. The logic seemed simple. They were made from vegetable oils instead of animal fat, so they must be better for your heart, right? Well, science tells a very different story. Many of these spreads are actually loaded with trans fats, thanks to a process called hydrogenation, a chemical transformation that turns liquid oils into solid fats, giving margarine its spreadable texture and long shelf life. The problem is, trans fats are extremely inflammatory. They not only raise LDL, bad, cholesterol, but they also lower HDL, good, cholesterol, creating the perfect storm for plaque buildup and artery damage. But it doesn't stop there. Regular consumption of trans fats has been directly linked to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, both of which drastically increase your risk of heart disease. Even so-called light or cholesterol-free versions can be deceiving, often hiding refined oils, preservatives, and artificial additives, all of which can trigger inflammation and contribute to long-term metabolic problems. So, what's the better option? If you enjoy a little spread on your toast, reach for real butter, in moderation, of course. Even better, you can swap margarine for avocado, nut butters, or olive oil spreads, all of which provide healthy fats that actually protect your heart rather than harm it. It's a simple, delicious switch that your heart and your body will thank you for. Number 6. Refined breads and pastas. Let's talk about something that's probably in your pantry right now: refined breads and pastas. These foods are staples in many diets, but when it comes to heart health, they're far from innocent. The problem starts with the flour. White flour, the base of most refined breads and pastas, is heavily processed, meaning it's stripped of fiber, vitamins, and minerals that naturally occur in whole grains. What's left is a fast-digesting carbohydrate that spikes your blood sugar almost instantly after you eat it. These constant blood sugar spikes lead to a dangerous cascade in your body. First, they trigger insulin surges, which over time can cause insulin resistance, one of the root causes of belly fat, metabolic syndrome, and type 2 diabetes, all of which are major risk factors for heart disease. On top of that, these refined carbs get easily converted into triglycerides, a type of fat that contributes directly to plaque buildup in your arteries. Even products marketed as whole grain can be misleading. Many of them contain only a small percentage of whole grains, mixed with refined flour and added sugars to improve taste and texture. That's why reading ingredient labels is so important. The good news is that there are plenty of truly heart-healthy alternatives that are just as satisfying. Swap refined breads and pastas for 100% whole grain options: quinoa, oats, brown rice, or sweet potatoes. These choices are high in fiber, which slows down sugar absorption and helps keep blood sugar stable, all while nourishing your heart. Number 7. Industrialized sweets, packaged cakes, cookies, candies. Let's be honest, who doesn't love a sweet treat now and then? But if your cravings often lead you to packaged cakes, cookies, candies, or snack bars, your heart could be paying the price. These industrialized sweets are a dangerous cocktail of refined sugar, trans fats, artificial additives, and preservatives, all of which wreak havoc on your metabolism and cardiovascular health. The sheer amount of sugar in these products is enough to skyrocket your blood sugar levels, forcing your pancreas to flood your system with insulin. Over time, this constant sugar surge contributes to insulin resistance, which promotes belly fat, the type of fat most closely linked to heart disease. Excess sugar also gets converted into triglycerides, a harmful type of fat that clogs your arteries and raises your risk of heart attacks and strokes. But the damage doesn't stop there. Industrial sweets are often made with cheap, hydrogenated oils, meaning they also contain trans fats, which further increase bad cholesterol, LDL, lower good cholesterol, HDL, and fuel chronic inflammation. Add to that a cocktail of preservatives, artificial flavors, and colorants, and you've got a recipe for liver stress, metabolic overload, and long-term health problems. The good news is that you don't have to give up sweets entirely, just rethink where they come from. Swap out the processed junk for homemade treats made with natural sweeteners like honey, dates, or maple syrup, or enjoy fruit-based desserts that satisfy your sweet tooth while nourishing your body and protecting your heart. Number 8. Fast food, burgers, fries, nuggets, pizza. We all know fast food is far from healthy, but most people think it's just about the calories or the grease. The truth is, fast food delivers a triple threat to your heart, and it's much more dangerous than you might realize. First, these meals are often fried in reused oils, loaded with trans fats that not only clog your arteries, but also trigger inflammation that damages blood vessels. These oils are broken down and overheated repeatedly, making them even more toxic. Second, fast food is packed with sodium, much more than you'd ever use at home. This salt overload forces your body to retain water, putting extra pressure on your blood vessels and driving your blood pressure through the roof. High blood pressure is a direct highway to heart attacks and strokes, especially if it's left unchecked over time. And third, Many fast food meals, especially burgers and pizza, contain processed meats like bacon, sausage, or pepperoni. As we've already covered, processed meats are a heart health nightmare, packed with preservatives, nitrates, and unhealthy fats that fuel inflammation and plaque buildup. To make matters worse, these meals are often coated in sugary sauces, adding yet another layer of cardiovascular risk. But here's the thing, you don't have to give up your favorite foods entirely. The fix is simple: make your own versions at home using quality ingredients. With lean meats, healthy oils, and fresh veggies, you can enjoy your favorites without putting your heart in danger. Number 9. Energy drinks. Let's talk about energy drinks, those brightly colored cans promising to keep you awake, alert, and energized. They may give you a quick boost, but they also deliver a serious punch to your heart, and not in a good way. These drinks are packed with a dangerous combination of high-dose caffeine, sugar, and artificial stimulants like taurine and guarana. While caffeine in moderation can be harmless or even beneficial, the extreme levels found in many energy drinks can spike your heart rate, elevate your blood pressure, and even trigger heart palpitations. The sugar content alone is bad news for your heart. It causes a rapid blood sugar spike, followed by a crash, leaving you craving more and adding to insulin resistance, belly fat, and chronic inflammation. But even the sugar-free versions come with risks, thanks to artificial sweeteners. These can disrupt your gut microbiome, which research shows is directly tied to heart health, blood pressure regulation, and inflammation control. What makes these drinks especially dangerous is the combination effect. Caffeine, sugar, and artificial stimulants work together to stress your cardiovascular system far more than a regular cup of coffee ever would. Regular consumption puts you on the fast track toward high blood pressure, arrhythmias, and increased risk of heart attack or stroke. The good news is that you can stay energized naturally. Swap energy drinks for green tea, matcha, or even infused water with citrus and mint, gentle boosts without the heart-harming side effects. Number 10. Breakfast cereals, highly processed. Let's talk about breakfast cereals, those colorful boxes lining supermarket shelves, often covered in health claims like whole grain, fortified with vitamins, or a good source of fiber. Unfortunately, the reality doesn't match the marketing. Most processed cereals are nothing more than refined flour, sugar, and a cocktail of chemical additives, all dressed up to look healthy. These cereals have a high glycemic index, meaning they spike your blood sugar almost immediately after eating. That sugar rush forces your body to release a flood of insulin, which encourages your body to store fat, especially around the belly, one of the most dangerous places to carry extra weight when it comes to heart health. This constant cycle of spike and crash also fuels insulin resistance, one of the leading drivers of type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and cardiovascular disease. On top of that, processed cereals often contain artificial colors, flavors, and preservatives, many of which have been linked to chronic inflammation, a key trigger for heart disease. Even cereals marketed to adults, like high-fiber or heart-healthy varieties, can be loaded with added sugar, turning your so-called healthy breakfast into a dessert in disguise. The good news is that healthy breakfasts can still be quick and delicious. Swap out processed cereals for oatmeal topped with nuts and berries, a chia pudding, or a bowl of Greek yogurt with fruit. These options provide real fiber, protein, and healthy fats, everything your heart loves to start the day strong. Number 11. Full-fat dairy products, when overconsumed. Let's talk about full-fat dairy products, things like whole milk, cheese, cream, and butter. Now, dairy can absolutely be part of a balanced diet, but too much of the wrong types can work against your heart instead of helping it. That's because full-fat dairy is rich in saturated fats, which have been shown to raise LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol responsible for plaque buildup in your arteries. Over time, this plaque can narrow your blood vessels, making it harder for blood to flow smoothly, which increases your risk of heart attacks and strokes. But that's not the only concern. Some conventional dairy products also contain hormones and antibiotics used in large-scale farming operations. These residues can disrupt your hormonal balance and, when consumed regularly, may add to long-term health risks, including inflammation, another major driver of heart disease. That doesn't mean you have to cut out dairy entirely. The key is to choose wisely and watch your portions. Fermented dairy products like Greek yogurt and kefir can actually support gut health, which indirectly helps your heart, since a healthy gut is linked to better blood sugar control and lower inflammation. If you prefer plant-based options, unsweetened versions of almond milk, coconut yogurt, or cashew cream can also work well. Just be sure to check labels for added sugars and preservatives. By swapping out excess full-fat dairy and focusing on heart-friendly options, you'll still get the nutrients your body needs, without the added heart risk. Number 12. Bacon and processed meats. When it comes to the absolute worst food for your heart, bacon and processed meats take the top spot, and for good reason. These foods are the ultimate dangerous combination of saturated fat, sodium, nitrates, and preservatives, all working together to damage your cardiovascular system from multiple angles. First, the saturated fat in these meats raises your LDL cholesterol, the kind that sticks to the walls of your arteries, creating dangerous plaque buildup. This process, known as atherosclerosis, causes your arteries to harden and narrow, restricting blood flow and putting extra strain on your heart. At the same time, the excess sodium found in bacon, deli meats, sausages, and hot dogs raises your blood pressure, which further increases your risk of heart attacks and strokes. But that's not all. Nitrates and nitrites, the chemical preservatives used to keep these meats looking fresh and tasting savory, can convert into harmful compounds called nitrosamines once inside your body. These have been linked to cancer and chronic inflammation, both of which directly increase your heart disease risk. What makes processed meats so dangerous is that they're often a regular part of the modern diet, from bacon at breakfast to deli sandwiches at lunch and hot dogs at dinner. The more often you eat them, the higher your risk. The good news is that there are plenty of heart-friendly protein options. Swap processed meats for fresh chicken, turkey, fish, or plant proteins like beans, lentils, and tofu. Your heart will thank you, and so will your overall health. Number 13. Ready-made sauces, ketchup, mayo, barbecue sauce. Let's talk about ready-made sauces, those convenient condiments we drizzle, dip, or spread on almost everything. Whether it's ketchup on fries, mayo on sandwiches, or barbecue sauce on grilled meats, these sauces may pack flavor, but they also deliver a hidden punch to your heart. The problem starts with sugar and high fructose corn syrup, HFCS, both of which show up in surprising amounts in these sauces, even in ones that aren't sweet. HFCS is particularly dangerous because it goes straight to your liver, where it can contribute to fatty liver disease, disrupt cholesterol metabolism, and promote belly fat accumulation, all major risk factors for heart disease. Then, there's the sodium overload. Sauces like ketchup, soy sauce, and barbecue sauce are loaded with salt, and all that extra sodium forces your body to hold onto water, raising your blood pressure and putting strain on your heart. Over time, this combination of excess sugar, salt, and chemical preservatives fuels chronic inflammation, making your arteries stiffer and more vulnerable to plaque buildup. But here's the good news. You can still enjoy your favorite flavors, just make them yourself. Whip up a quick homemade ketchup using tomato paste, vinegar, and a touch of honey, or blend Greek yogurt, lemon, and herbs into a creamy mayo substitute. When you control the ingredients, you not only protect your heart, but also discover how much better fresh, real food tastes, with no hidden health traps. Now you know, it's not just salt that threatens your heart. These 13 everyday foods might be quietly damaging your arteries, blood pressure, and cholesterol levels without you even realizing it. The good news? Protecting your heart doesn't require drastic changes. Start by reading labels more carefully. Look out for hidden sugars, unhealthy oils, and preservatives. Next, begin swapping processed junk for whole, natural foods, foods that nourish your body instead of harming it. Remember, even small daily changes add up to big long-term benefits for your heart health and overall well-being. And if you want to take your heart knowledge even further, don't miss this. Discover 11 weird signs your heart may already be in trouble. Click here to find out.